My name is H.A. Goodman. I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. And to read all my writing, go to counterpropa.com. Support the site through the Amazon links and donate button. Share the petition below to get the DNC to give its computer servers to the FBI. That ties in directly to what I'm about to report right now. The New York Times staff won the International Reporting Prize for articles on Russian President Vladimir Putin's effort to project Russia's power abroad. The Pulitzer Prize was given to one of Hillary Clinton's public relations firms, specifically to further the notion that Russia hacked the election, and in doing so, that was an attempt not only to elect Trump, but to further Russian state values across the globe. The Pulitzer Prize is usually given to journalists or to newspapers or publications that actually makes some kind of breakthrough, journalistic breakthrough, where people learn something, whether it's Watergate or whatever. People learn something of value that's tied to evidence, a subject matter that isn't politicized to the point where the New York Times was actually working for the Clinton campaign. We know this because Glenn Thrush, one of the people who worked the Politico journalist who actually sent Podesta an article pre-publication and stated, well, please don't tell anybody. I know what I'm doing is wrong, whatever, something to that effect, now works at the New York Times. Maggie Haberman was one of Clinton's friendly journalists, would tee up stories. There are other journalists in the New York Times who practically worked for Hillary Clinton's campaign, the Podesta campaign. And they're winning the Pulitzer Prize. Then, of course, there's David Fahrenthold. The Washington Post reporter David Fahrenthold articles created a model for transparent journalism, an investigation into Donald Trump's pledges to charitable causes during the U.S. presidential election campaign to win a Pulitzer Prize. Hillary Clinton had a weapons deal scandal. That was the story. David Sirota of the International Business Times broke the story. This is a weapons deal scandal. The Clinton Foundation had 85 donors gave $156 million to the Clinton Foundation for access to Hillary Clinton. That was an Associated Press report that was quickly set aside and disparaged by Vox and all the other public relations firms. But what you have here is the Washington Post and the New York Times doing their duty, not as journalists or publications, newspapers, first as public relations firms for Hillary Clinton. It was all about furthering a Russian hacking myth where the NSA is only moderately confident and the DNC computer servers still remain within DNC hands. The FBI requested them numerous times. The DNC denied each and every request. How on earth is any publication like the New York Times going to win a Pulitzer Prize furthering Russia's, Putin's, furthering the breakthrough that they disclosed Russian efforts to project Russia's power abroad? If that's not the most broad, it's almost like they're just trying to find a way to justify the Russian hacking / Russia is evil narrative. It's such a broad accomplishment. It's not really a specific endeavor that they managed to shed light upon. WikiLeaks deserves the Pulitzer Prize, many Pulitzer Prizes, because Debbie Wasserman Schultz forced to resign, Donna in Brazil forced to resign from CNN, 4 other DNC officials forced to resign. We know that Bernie Sanders was cheated now. We know the corruption within the Clinton campaign. We know the media was beholden to Hillary Clinton. We know that Podesta had dinners with, we know that Chuck Todd had a dinner with Jennifer Palmieri. We know that Podesta invited a whole bunch of journalists from the New York Times and Washington Post. And David Fahrenthold gets a 2005 audio. Nobody questions whether that's from Russian intelligence. It's unbelievable. Give me your thoughts below. The Washington Post and New York Times get Pulitzer Prizes for furthering, just so happens they furthered the narrative the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton want you to believe. And the fact that they were embedded, or that the Clinton campaign was essentially embedded within them. John Podesta now writes for the Washington Post, and Jennifer Palmieri was published in the Washington Post. Then you had Maggie Haberman and Glenn Thrush, who now works for the New York Times. It's unbelievable, but that's the Orwellian society we live in, so congratulations. You've just did to the Pulitzer Prize what Clinton did to the election. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much for listening.